empowerment comes to my mind, because once you're thinking about audience and purpose, you are empowered in a way to make major decisions about the text.
They write rough drafts and just spill everything to see what they've got to work with. Then they can look back at the draft and say, what is my purpose here? And eliminate the things that they may have included just when they were writing randomly.
Reasonable understanding of what it means to make a claim, to back that claim up with data.
Making sure that you're learning, specific things about, different styles, and, learning, what it means for something to be, for learning, terms, rhetorical terms, and
how you can incorporate the logos, ethos, and pathos, and how you can, like, just by painting a picture, you can draw your reader in more. And I mean, it just improves you. I think it improved everybody. It didn't just change you, because if you just changed, then you really shouldn't have passed Comp 1 in the first place.
Went through with this introduction to kind of spark the reader's interest without confusing them too much. I tried not to make it too confusing by making this a long, drawn-out, 2-page deal where we're set in medieval times. I tried to narrow it down to just a few paragraphs and then let the reader know what we're really talking about.
It's like, for instance, this semester I'm taking I'm a sophomore, but I'm taking a freshman class, History of Civilization, and basically my teacher is like, when you write her an essay, she don't look at the grammar, she look at the wording, but she wanted to sound like professional, like you actually need to be in college writing, like you was in college instead of high school or something. Like if in high school you say the cat jumped, she wanted you to write the feline leaped, or something like that. But that's the wording, not the actual period. I mean, most teachers that I knew, like, really pay more attention to the actual wording you did instead of the actual period, because they know, okay, they might forget to write a period, or every now and then.
In high school, I feel you're often encouraged to develop a voice or a sense of personal style, or learn how to simply express yourself. When you get to college, the emphasis seems more on addressing the academic community, or the community at large, or whatever the audience may be, as opposed to just developing your own writing style. So in that, through the skills and everything from work, learning how to cite your work correctly to putting it in a certain format, you develop those skills in composition that you previously aren't really exposed to.
Knowing how to quote, paraphrase, and summarize those 3 basic operations.
Conventions are situational and local.
Just showing them how to use an MLA format.
Ask them to write about their major, and then ask them to find what the style sheet is for that major.
For some of them, that is very comforting.
If they know that much and know how to have some idea about how to find the guidelines, that makes me happy.
Problems with plagiarism. It hasn't even been intentional, or if it has been intentional, it's been because they didn't know what to do. So I think we should make it crystal clear these steps to take to document and to give credit to sources. I'd rather than be interested in the research and have all these ways at hand, including the Thompson book or some other handbook, because I'm the first to admit to my students and everyone that I can't remember how to do the documentation without having my handbook on.
That's classic.
Right, you gotta write all that stuff down, you gotta put it in the paper, like, I took this from this person, let's put it in parentheses, let's put the periods in, let's put the quotations, just aggravating. But it's good to do that, but it's, I don't know.
Why do you think it's good to do that?
I mean, it's good to tell, so you don't get arrested. This is not my work, sorry. Not just put it in your own words, kind of put it in someone else's words. If this is what this person stated, and to go from there, like, give that person credit for having an opinion instead of just us having an opinion all the time.
The only thing I've gotten out of my composition classes is just the writing experience itself. Well, we seem to focus a lot on nitpicky details that yeah, would help you writing, but are really not that important. Like, we spent like a couple of weeks on just like how to write an MLA paper rather than how to write.
Okay.
Then after the paper, what I do is I look for common mistakes throughout the class, and I come up with some page of errors, and then in groups they correct the errors. And so then in the next paper I look to see, you know, did they get that?
I guess it's taught me something that at first I didn't think I needed to be taught, that is structure. Like, I guess I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that I'm a pretty good writer to begin with. So when I started composition, it was the structure. At first I was ticked off because of the structure everything was laid out on how to do things. This is how you do things, and there's
in Comp 1 or Comp 2?
Comp 2, more specifically. And at first I felt stifled, you know, but I guess I kind of still do feel that my creativity is just getting stifled by the amount of structure. But at the same time, I understand that I need this, you know, I need to know these things to become a better writer.
She's teaching us a lot right now about how to actually, like I said, with sources, and that's been difficult for me, like how to work them in and how to properly quote and cite what I want to say or to summarize, and we'll see. I'll get my paper back today. And
how do you expect to do?
I could have done better. I had limited myself on time. I moved, and so I didn't have enough time to put all of myself into the paper. So I'm not happy with it, and I'm going to turn another one in regardless.
Maybe in the next draft or in the next writing assignment. And I think, and what you said too, it's nice to have some of the same students that you had in Comp 1, and I did this semester, and I can see where some changes have occurred, you know, whether it's in learning how to, you know, use a comma correctly, finally learning how to use a semicolon correctly.
No matter what you do, you have to have structure. Like, it's especially in writing, you have to have structure. You have to have topic, you have to have like the introduction, you have to have body, paragraphs. I mean, you have to have structure. Like, I mean, you can free write, yeah, like on the little card we did, you can free write, but there's still kind of structure in that. Like, you gotta start somewhere and you gotta end somewhere.
So in the end, we ask, just what did we learn from experimenting with our assessment methodology? All of us involved agreed that our learning about our students and our program and our ability to see both the strengths of first-year writing and the need for redirection were greatly enhanced. Our own conversation about our students and our program was ongoing and far too long to transcribe. Suffice it to say that we discovered that our teachers, many of them adjuncts or graduate assistants, are all superbly well prepared to teach writing, thanks to careful training and the assessment rubric we have been using for several years now. Even more gratifying, we discover that our students were able to use the same language as their teachers as they reflected on their first-year writing experiences. Some of them were able to talk eloquently about what they had learned and about how they understood that learning in relationship to other writing demands they will face in the academy and in their professional lives. However, we also found that our students see a great disparity in the first of our writing courses, 1311, and the second of those courses, 1312. To use dated jargon from our discipline, some of our students voiced concern that 1311 was based too much on expressive writing, and that 1312 shoved them too quickly into academic writing. Our findings will most certainly cause us to ask further questions about both courses and to work on ensuring that, above all, they prepare students for academic realities they will face in other disciplines and in the workplace.